Good morning, everybody. My name is Leandro Tristan Amadeus Kalban. I'm from DK44 International, and today I'm going to present to you my graphic innovation design. So, for the problem observation, the problem that I'm going to observe is why Indonesian traditional martial arts aren't applied in modern mixed martial arts or MMA. So, for the problem background, Indonesian traditional martial arts were never really considered in the modern MMA climate, making it barely known by the mass audiences and resulting in many of our national heritage being put under the radar. And being under the radar results in the low knowledge and representative of these martial arts in the world stage. It creates lots of assumption that, for example, Silat was deemed ineffective to be used in MMA. This results in people choosing international martial arts rather than studying our very own. So this can be seen, for example, in Silat. It's about striking, and people consider that using only striking in MMA is not a really good thing because if a striker meet a grappler, he's going to be defeated very easily, especially if they go against someone who is a proficient in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But if we mix it, we don't really use one martial arts. That's why we want to implement Silat in one of the mixed martial arts, like combining it with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, or with Judo. But because of the low knowledge of this martial arts, people don't really want to study it or learn it, and they think that because it's not famous, it's not effective, and it cannot be used and it cannot be implemented in the modern MMA. So now, after we observe it, we're going to review the problem. So the problem is the lack of promotion and knowledge of Indonesian martial arts being spread amongst the Indonesian mainstream audiences. Indonesian martial arts are being buried into obscurity because of the lack of exposure and with the arrival of international martial arts, putting it more behind under the spotlight. Because these past few years, there have been so many new MMA gym that has opened. For example, the one that I've used to train there, it's in Warrior MMA in Jakarta and trained by Max Metino. And in that class, there is no pencak silat or any other Indonesian traditional martial arts. Even though I think that if we implement pencak silat there, it can be a pretty effective move if we put it in MMA. So these are the five whys analysis to define the problem of why Indonesian traditional martial arts lack of promotions. So the first one is, why did this occur? Why number one? Why are Indonesian traditional martial arts aren't implemented in MMA? Why is it? Because it were deemed ineffective. Why are Indonesian traditional martial arts deemed ineffective? Because Indonesian traditional martial arts aren't really well known worldwide. Why are Indonesian traditional martial arts aren't really well known worldwide? Because even Indonesian people don't really know these martial arts. Why number four? Why are Indonesian don't really know their own martial arts? Because there are a lack of promotions of the martial arts, lack of exposure, for example. And why number five is, why are Indonesian traditional martial art lack the promotions? Why is it? Because there are not many promotional campaign of the martial arts, like contests, books, posters, education videos, and podcasts maybe that talks about them. So these are the benchmarking, the media examples of Indonesian and international martial arts promotion. So on the far left, it's from Indonesia on the One Pride FC, and in here we can see that on the left side, the Mari Fadila, he used silat merpati putih, and he is going to go against someone who is good at taekwondo. And from there we can see that even though he only used pencak silat merpati putih, he still can be considered in the MMA and in the One Pride MMA, which is the promotional for Indonesian UFC. But because of the lack of exposure, the lack of promotion, and people don't really know about this martial arts, people don't really want to study this martial arts. That's why Maybe we can see it in the One Pride MMA, but if we go internationally, we don't really see it. We will see more like boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, etc. Like for example, the middle one, Chijudo versus Dillashaw, where Chijudo is a famous wrestler from America, and he is going to go against Dillashaw, who is a street fighter. Like the guy on the One Pride, Marif Fadila, he is a silat merpati putih, but he is also a street fighter. And Dillashaw, he is also a street fighter, but because of the lack of promotion, the small comparison between UFC and One Pride MMA, people don't really know the Indonesian one. And the other one on the far right is the One Fighting Championship, which is the Asian promotional fight club, like UFC but in Asia. So for the idea, we're going to use the scamper method. uh, we are going to use number one, substitution. We are going to substituting the use of still image poster into moving motion graphics, and we're going to rearrange by rearranging the style of design implemented into a more modern style design. Then we're going to combine Indonesian heritage and modern design to get an up-to-date representation of Indonesian culture. And the last one, we're going to adapting the end product design into the mass audiences in accordance to the mainstream media to reach wider audiences. And for the selection of graphic media, we're going to use motion graphic, which is a moving still images like infographic, and it's going to be selected media used for promotion, as the use of these motion graphic pictures are more common these days, and pretty much used by everybody, and it is also eye-catching. And with this motion graphic still image picture, we can also create classic poster fight, and it can be implemented into this type of design. These are the visual sketch, the first version sketch of the still image fight card poster for the motion graphic final editing. This is still the first version, and on the end product, we're going to make the picture moving, so it can be felt like you're looking at the two fighter but in person because of the movement. So that's all for the presentation. Thank you, and I hope you will enjoy my motion graphic after this, after all the sketch has been finalized. And thank you.